Does he ever lose? This guy. Does he ever lose?
Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the official NickWalshTV channel, and welcome back to more Spin and Goes, coming to you live from the PokerStars team. Welcome back, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. I am excited to say that I survived another trip to Vegas. And upon my arrival home, not only did we survive a trip to Vegas, guys, we also successfully managed to take purchase of our new lovely desk chair. Let me actually see if I can mess with my camera here a little bit really quick. Everything is slightly out of whack because I've literally just assembled this thing. It did some voiceover this morning as well. And so I'm still kind of getting used to the new height of it all. And the positioning of this monitor isn't quite right. All right, something like that. Anyway, we have just taken receipt of this beautiful new human scale chair. I've been talking about it for some time for those of you that have been watching, and it is quite the piece. It just kind of looks like your generic desk chair. This is very plush, though. We decided to go for this specific upholstery, I suppose you could call it upholstery kind of thing. It's very smooth. It goes extremely tall, so it actually matches the desk now, and it reclines like a dream. Oh my God. What have I been doing with my whole life? This is what it's all about. Anyway, guys, enough about that. We are here to play Spin and Goes, and of course, we are still here to promote and to accomplish ourselves the Spin and Goal promotion. Let me pull this up for you so you guys can see what I'm looking at right now. Over here. Hey, what's up, Decaf Poker? Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome, my friend. So we were just looking at the Spin and Goal promotion, or Spin Goal, excuse me. I keep mispronouncing that. And as you can see, we've made a lot of progress before we left for Vegas. So we have to hit the number 1 still. We need a 26 and a 27, and we will complete three accomplishments, I believe. Squad, team, and also coach is a double bonus, if I'm not mistaken. So 27, 26, and a 1 is what we're looking for during today's games. Also, behind this here, guys, this is the progress so far in chips. So this is filtered specifically for Spin and Goes, and we are trying to make this graph go upwards. It has been a very, very big struggle this year, guys. We're not winning anywhere near as many chips as I would like. We're obviously winning more than we're losing. However, our chip EV is still something around 9, I think, like that, something like 9. It needs to be closer to something like 18 to really be super respectable. So we are about half as many chips per game on average as I would currently expect us to be. But as you guys have seen from the previous sessions, we are very much out of whack with where we're headed. And we have been really, really, really stumbling in what I would consider kind of just a very extended sort of dry patch of situations that are good for us. Apologies for the funny background again, guys. This was purchased by me from lovely Ruth while we were in Vegas. It is a poker chip cushion. I actually was using these pillows this morning to mute and dampen the sound in this room while I was doing some voiceover work this morning for PokerStars. We are still going to put art on this wall, so it's not going to be a pure white background as many of you have complained about. One person went so far as to say that they thought I was streaming from heaven, which I thought was kind of sweet, but I think what they mean to say it was a little bit too white, and we will be sorting that out as we go. So, with no further ado, let's get into our games. Everybody, let me try and sort this out. Sorry for the bumps. I am still trying to work out best practice for the new microphone and the new stand. I do kind of miss having the long arm. I think that's always going to be a little bit better, but we're trying to get used to the new setup here. With no further ado, let's fire up our games. We are playing 25s. If you guys are new here, we are playing $25 Spin and Goes with the aim to play 10,000 games before the end of the year. As of right now, we have played 3,162, so we're pretty far behind. Obviously, Spin and Goes are a very fast game. You can catch up rather quickly. We still haven't had anything super duper big yet in the multiplier department, so let's see if we can change that today. We're starting off with a 4x multi, and we are going to see what they got for us. The games before we left for Vegas were definitely quite reg heavy. Games before Vegas were certainly a little bit reg heavy. Two checks is interesting. I don't think it's a 10 or a queen in that case. Might be worth betting turn. Eric, being check raised on the turn is quite unusual. No, we're not folding. We're not folding just yet. I suppose once we spike this 9, there's no folding the river either, but let's see. Lovely stuff. I would say that was a fairly unconventional line from Abracadabra. They convinced us to put chips in behind though, so fair play. Definitely cannot hate on that. All right, so just trying to get caught up on everything that we might have missed while we were gone. We're calling a squeeze this time if we need to. So the flat from Maradona, I'd say, is pretty weird. Don't think there's much flatting from this position, especially with Abracadabra being very short stacked behind. This is just all kinds of goofy now. Really, really unsure as to what this is supposed to be. But we're not folding yet, of course. Don't think we can fold the turn either. This is just weird. So technically, they shouldn't really ever have a pair in their hand. Technically, we're beating all the ace highs that are going to flat here, even though technically a lot of ace highs aren't supposed to flat here. So what is this really going to be in the end? I kind of have to see it for myself. Yeah, that's fine. We are definitely stumbling into the territory of non-GTO stuff. Therefore, I think the call down is okay. Definitely labeled immediately, though. This is part and parcel to what I'm making reference to. Like, there's not really much representing in this situation. I would say also, when players are going to call with a 9 in that spot, the number of times they lead into 2 players is very, very small. Like, the 2 profiles don't align. So 8-7 is honestly probably one of the more likely things for them to play in this fashion. That makes sense. And then I think they end up having a bunch of random stuff as well that they like just start just guessing at. What's up, Gil? Good to see you, buddy. Kind of unfortunate anyway. I mean, obviously we're making 2 really good calls. Like, we're kind of hitting the nail on the head. We know that this is not there's not a whole lot that they can really represent in this situation, and there's not a whole lot that I think they are representing. So we've obviously taken 2 lines on 2 streets with the best hand. We're unlucky to be rivered. Definitely noticeable that that river does complete the 7-8. 7-8 shouldn't really be part of the equation at all, but that's fine. It's still part of the components that we're including. Let's just take a quick time to note guy here. I mean, the flat is particularly bad when the big blind is as short as they are, because they will just play push fold. So you don't get to realize that the equity of the value of your hand often. So call SB multi-way. So in future, we'll have a note for this player. You know, when we're making notes like this, it's just important that we have a couple things in mind. Number one, we want to know that they're playing outside of range and they're playing hands they shouldn't in from this position. Number two, this sort of small donk line is kind of exactly what they're representing. They don't have a made hand. They're not representing strength. They're just trying to get to the equity that they can realize. And then that pattern, right? So bet small, bet slightly bigger, bet big on the river. Again, that's not really a bet big on the river, but you can see, like, you know, it's like a size that sort of now wants to get paid that is larger than a small blocker bet. Hey, Tony, what's up? Good to see you, man. But Vegas has been and gone already. I mean, Vegas is still happening, obviously. I want to say a big thank you again to Carrie Jane and the Hippodrome Casino for inviting me to come and join them on the trip. It was really good. It was such a good group of people. It was a really, really nice nice gathering of poker friends, new and old. I really, really, really enjoyed this trip. This was a fantastic time for me personally. I must say, Vegas in itself is a challenge for me. I mean, one sec, guys. There it is. Vegas itself for me is a challenge. Like even just being in the Vegas air, the arid Vegas environment, it's so hostile to my body. Like just as an actual geographical location. I live in Brighton on the south coast of England. England is very humid. England has a lot of moist, humid air. And as soon as I land in Las Vegas, my body just does no clue what's going on. My lips get really chapped. Everything just becomes super dehydrated. Everything is just super hot. I'd rather not chop this pot. And yeah, it was just day to day, even making an active effort to try and drink lots of water and to hydrate and hydration fluid and hydration powder and all this other stuff. It's just crazy. You simultaneously have like cold symptoms, like a runny nose and a blocked nose because you're always in the AC. And then the minute you go outside, it's so hot and arid that everything just, all the moisture in your body just evaporates. The AC kind of has the same effect to you when you're inside. And of course the jet lag was pretty savage as well. But once you kind of acclimatize, Max, thank you very much for the follow. Once you acclimatize to the atmosphere, though, you definitely have the benefit of playing poker in some very, very nice environments, some very, very soft games. I didn't get a chance to play nearly as much as I would have liked in Vegas, but it was also for me pretty important to see my family and stuff. People had made the effort to come out to see me in Vegas too, so it was a good trip. I do think in future, though, especially once I've sorted out my English citizenship and stuff, I will make a more concerted effort to go to Vegas just purely for work, just for grind. Thank you once again, Max, for the follow. Tony says, I was sick in Vegas and it ruined the trip. I mean, I just feel like everybody gets sick to a certain degree. As I say, I was, you know, 1 minute I couldn't breathe. The next minute my nose wouldn't stop running. So my nose was like really, really sore because I was having to like, you know, like all the time. I was having to dab my nose all the time, and then the fact that you're in the air conditioning or you're outside in the dry air just makes everything more like sore, and it's like crazy. But I do feel like it's an acclimatization thing. I think it's the same as if you move to Spain or whatever. Like if you're just always in hot arid climates like that, I think you do eventually just get over it. If I'm thinking probably if I was to go and do Vegas once a year, I'd want to go for way more than a single week. I think probably 4 weeks minimum, just to like make the jet lag really, really count. Go out there and, you know, make a real go of it. That would also mean probably like 5 days acclimatization, relatively small amounts of poker. Okay, we're gonna bet really big on the turn here, guys. I think this is probably the best way to behave. Just to maximize folds while we have a little bit of equity there as well. I suppose there is an argument theoretically you can do the same thing with an ace as well and with some bigger draws. Queen deuce. I think betting flop here is never going to be bad. I think probably checking is going to be okay too. Let's just start with a bet against this player. would say we're probably allowed to pile on a fair amount of pressure there on the turn as well if we want to. Ace 9, this seems like a pretty clear shove. Yeah, I mean, the limp call with 10-9 suited is... Blund says, lol, tough to win versus the house. Okay. Okay, interesting. My friend obviously hasn't been watching the stream. It's pretty easy to beat me this year. All right, 1, 2, 5, let's go. Oh, 27 was one of our numbers, guys. 27 was one of our spin goal targets, I believe. $27 is coach. So I think that means we just unlocked some money as well. I think that means that we've just unlocked a couple bucks as well. I think coach was 2x average buy-in. Let's play this one. This one's fine. And I would say probably betting this flop is going to be just fine as well. Maybe the trick is fly to Vegas, 1 month trip, 4 or 5 days, just living, getting set up, making sure you got everything you need to really step into the grind. Use that time to acclimatize, see friends, enjoy it, try and get on the right sleep schedule, force yourself into the right sleep schedule, and then just flat out cash every single day, all day. Before he was a very rude boy. The limp call with 10-9 suited, I think, is completely fine. We got a call here. The limp call with 10-9 suited is fine, but we end up having a nice hand there anyway. Yeah, Tony, exactly. Okay, half pot on the turn. I don't know if we can continue here. I would say probably feel like fold. Undersea Monkey, hello. Hot spin action as I live and breathe. We are back, mate. We are fully back. And I hope you're well. Oh, a top set feels pretty good. I am very tempted to check this board against King of Poker specifically. I have a vibe about this one. I have a bit of a vibe about this one. Now, this is probably fine. I would say the ace is a really big action killer for us, unfortunately. A lot of the value of the check is to allow our opponents to represent that board. But it's not going to happen as often when we're going to have all the strong hands on that turn. Or some of them. Not the best turn. I would really love it if you just had like 9-3. That would be cool. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the gut shot. Yeah. That's the gut shot. 2 overcards as well. To be fair. Couldn't be weller. Hope all is good. You're in. Thank you, mates. Yeah, we've just come back from Vegas. Definitely feeling the jet lag, but in all honesty, I feel as though I feel like I never really got onto Vegas time proper anyway, so I think coming back this direction, we're going to be a little bit better. But me and Ruthie got back Sunday late, and then we slept for almost all of Monday. To be fair, we stayed awake and we watched the football game as well, so that was a late evening on Sunday. So it was a combination of that. That actually might be better for the jet lag, I don't know. Not certain. Can't quite call 8-7 yet. 8-7 is a hand we can call for at a pretty... We can do pretty well with that hand, but... We can call pretty deep. Deeper than you might imagine. Cool, we lose the min in this hand. Definitely can't fold the river. It does feel like he's value betting us, but we're just losing to so little. He could still consider value betting a deuce or even sort of blocker betting a deuce. Little comeback is all that's needed here. King of Poker, as per usual, just flawless victory on us here. This guy is so good at cards. Three on the river's nice. Odyssey Monkey says, what did you play while you were out there? I mostly played cash. I was very keen to try and get into some tournaments and stuff, but the trip ended up being like quite a lot of my family from the United States that I don't get to see visiting as well. So a lot of like the overlapping, you know, we wanted to go see them a bunch, but overlapping schedules is not good for tournaments. You know what I mean? You know, if my uncles and my stepdad and my stepmom and my dad were like, you know, hey, like we're gonna come out for these days, and I said, oh, like I'll see you if I'm not in a tournament. It wouldn't work out so good. This is a really tough one, guys. Like we definitely will have the best hand here quite often. I would assume our hand is still strong enough for us to want to call here, but like obviously this doesn't feel great. He just always has the hand. This year has been really tough on us in these spots. I feel like we are very frequently on the wrong end of spots where we kind of need to find calls. We're on the wrong end of the pre-flop coolers quite often. Is it coming home though? Well, I hope it does. I really enjoyed the England match the other day. I really enjoyed the England match the other day. I ended up having two pretty good bets as well. I can't remember the exact accumulator that I had it on, but one of them was for Harry Kane and Jimenez to both score, and then a bunch of other silly penalties and corners and all that kind of stuff. GG. One of them was that, and then it was also more than 2.5 goals, and then a whole bunch of other stupid corners and cards and everything. All right, so as expected, guys, we have unlocked this spinning goal situation. So I think this is one of our big ones. All right, we unlock coach. Let me just get a little snip of this really quick because I want to note this still. Unfortunately, no win against the King of Poker. At this point, I think it's safe to say he is the King of Poker. This guy sincerely is a very, very, very good player, and just online 24/7. It really is impressive. So I'm pretty sure. Sorry, guys, I don't know what's going on outside. Oh, wait for it. I think it's one of those pedal bars. People pedal around town. So spin goal. I'm pretty sure we just unlocked 50 bucks. I need to double check. Today is the 7th of the 7th, 2026. So far this year, our bonuses have totaled to $1,485. One sec, guys. All right. There it comes. Bike tour, book now. Brighton Beer book tour. Brighton Beer bike tour. Whoa. New chair is still getting used to me here. All right. We did not win the 125, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure that we just unlocked. So if you collect the coach to win 2x your average, Brian, so that was 50 bucks. So we definitely have played with this player before. Don't know this guy. Unfortunately, it's just a 2x multi. Undersea Monkey says, I've not watched any of the World Cup, but my word, the betting has been good. I think this has been like the most number of sports bets that have come in consecutively. What are they doing? Ace King is a good hand. All right, that's not bad. So when I was in Vegas, I bet on the Mexico game. Not the most recent Mexico game, obviously. I can't even remember who's playing now. What are they doing? This is quite the scene. Quality to see family though, and that is beauty of cash. Well, exactly. I wish I had a chance to play more in Vegas this year, but it was still a very rewarding trip. It was more of a holiday, and it felt like a bit more of a holiday than most poker trips did, which is lovely. But yeah, I had 2 bets in the States. This is fine. I had 2 bets while I was in the States that were winners, and then I came home and I had like 3 bets here that were winners. Sorry for the screaming, guys. The unbalanced limp with queens. Can we give him some rope? Any rope? Any rope? No good. It's a bit weird though. This pedaling bar bike thing definitely doesn't usually come down this way. Sorry, they'll be out of here in a sec, guys. Ace 10, let's go. 2x multiplier. Yeah, I know, Tony. The thing is, this is like a, it's not like a private street, but it's like a really small back street that's just like the access for people's garages. Usually never anybody coming down it because it's a one-way street and it's barred at one end. For some reason, the pedaling bike tour thing is I think we're gonna float this one. I kind of anticipate 5x to have a crack at this flop most of the time. Our plan didn't work, that's fine. Pocket tens, good spot. Back up to 11 big blinds. We're about 11 effective. And let's go ahead and try and play in position as much as we can. I think betting here is good. That one is definitely a maybe. It's a fold technically pre-flop. And I would say that this one is probably going to be fine for us to activate our unusual bet size here. Once we get called, we're not going to get too mixed up, especially on 8-10-5. OAP, what's up? Good to see you. To be fair, against this player, we probably should make some pretty serious adjustments. I mean, our notes explicitly have us playing against this guy where he is misplaying in ISO pots. So therefore, even though the 7 deuce off big ISO is going to be fully approved, we also want to queen. We also want to take into consideration he's not going to fold the way he's supposed to either. But that's fine. We get the chips in good in the end for the win. Hey, Donos, what's up? Don't know the player on the right. He's opening to 5x blind v blind. That's interesting. Don't think that's a thing. Definitely wouldn't have minded if he did it there. We got to remember to use our magic all-in button. Nice. Decent run good in this game. King 5 is definitely a push first limp here, though. No doubt about it. Ooh. That is not what we want. 2 seconds, guys. It's a good thing that was empty. Was his call okay with A7? I think so. He's got... It's probably right on the cusp, but I think it is. We need to look it up, OAP. Hey, Nettie, what's up? Good to see you. All right, so my opponent doesn't appear to have represented a straight draw or a flush draw on the turn, so I have to kind of assume that on the river we still have the best hand with 2 pair. Nettie's asking how was Vegas. Vegas was fantastic. Again, shout out to Carrie Jane and the Hippodrome for putting on a great spread and a great show and a great event. Several great events, in fact. It was a very Vegas-y trip, and I was very grateful to have been invited to join. Had a lot of fun. Definitely highly recommend. It was a very different trip than what I'm used to as well, and I think I've decided in my mind that while going to play in Vegas is highly recommended, I think to take the flight and the jet lag and everything associated with it, and just acclimatizing to Vegas at all, because it's just a very different climate altogether, I would say that in general, next time I'm going to probably make a more considered effort to stay for longer. Like, I think it would be better for me to go for like a month rather than 8 days or whatever it was. But the 8 days we had were great. I was just really struggling to get on the right time zone and all that jazz. And it was very good. It was very, very good. And I think Carrie Jane and the Hippodrome did a fantastic job. Daniel McLean, what's up? Very good, mate. Yeah, I was just saying 2 seconds ago. Really enjoyed it. I think overall, it's difficult for me to say because I played much less poker than I expected. So in most Vegas trips, I'd have a very clear idea about profit and loss. But because I was just paying out of my pocket with the dollars in my pocket and I was buying in with the same money, overall, I would say I probably ended up spending, which includes like random gambling and stuff like that too. I think probably, how is this guy not dead yet? What the hell? I probably spent, I don't know, it's hard to say because it puts my card as well. So cash wise, I think I had about $2,500 and I came home with around $1,400, $1,500. So I spent about $1,000 in cash. Much of that would have been gambling, not poker. And also random like bars and stuff like that too. I probably put a fair amount on my card as well. And then the handful of opportunities I had to actually play poker were profitable. So I managed to claw back a little bit in the poker front, but I only ended up playing a handful of sessions, unfortunately. I think by far my biggest issue was to do with the jet lag. I just didn't feel like I was in the right headspace to play at all until the very end. And then even if I was doing a lot of visiting a family and stuff like that too. So it was difficult to even find the time to play the games. A month is much better. Did you go to MGM or another casino? So we stayed in Planet Hollywood. We spent a lot of time in Paris, obviously, because, you know, that's where the series was being held, and a lot of people were in and out of there. Went to MGM, Park MGM, because my uncle, excuse me, was staying there. You know, went to the Venetian, played in the Venetian a little bit. Walked through the Horseshoe, went to the new Vanderpump Hotel, went to the Flamingo for a little bit. Hello, Fitba. Thank you very much from Ukraine. Appreciate you. Jack is fine. Nice hand. Did I pop in to see Norma Jet? I did not. In fact, I wanted to make the effort to pop in to see Joe, and I didn't even get a chance to see Joe in the end. I wanted to see my friend Aaron as well. He was working the WSOP. Didn't get to see him either. I didn't see anybody really. It was obviously a Vegas trip, and I was very lucky to be taken along with by the Hippodrome Casino. So very much a poker-centric, poker-related event. But ultimately, I ended up spending the most of the time with my dad and my uncle, who I don't get a chance to see much. And as a result, I would say most of the days ended up taken up by those sort of things we were doing, which is great. I'm grateful for that. That was definitely kind of what I intended to do. But, you know, it's the same with any trip. You know, you go with sort of a plan in your mind about what you're going to do. And you go with a plan in mind of what you're going to do, and then you, at the end of the trip, you're like, next time we're going to do it like this, you know? What's up, Mac? Thank you very much. Martin Samuel, hello. What is this runouts? Did I get a Bobby's Burger from Paris? I did not. I did get a Gordon Ramsay burger from Planet Hollywood. And you know what? Do you know what? It was damn good. It was really good. I walked in and we sat down. It was the last day of our trip, and it was like a team dinner or whatever, team lunch. And I looked at the menu and I was like, they've just slapped Gordon Ramsay's name on here. He does not sign off on any of this menu. And I think there probably is a chance that's still true. But the actual food itself, when it came out, despite being something that I think Gordon Ramsay probably would not sign off on, was very, very good. It was very, very good indeed. I did, however, guys, I will do a post about this. I did taste several Bloody Marys. I ended up having 9 Bloody Marys in Las Vegas. And that doesn't mean I had 9. It means I had 9 from different locations, so I would have had more than 9. I literally counted every single Bloody Mary I had from the clubhouse at Heathrow Airport until Las Vegas Airport, which was number 9. And I ranked them all, and I have pictures of all of them as well. I'm going to put together a little post. I'm going to put together a little post with my final ratings. And I'm also going to do a big wrap up from the trip as well with all the photo dump. Nice, that's lucky. Let's go ahead and mark this one for review. He's shoving into 2 short stacks. This has got to be a call. This has got to be a call. If we look at the hand that's supposed to shove, the range that shoves there, I think we're just doing so well. We'll put that one in the review bank, guys. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. Nettie says, do you still get free drinks when you're playing the casino? You do, yes. However, it's not like it used to be. I would say, and this is not a reflection on Carrie Jane or the Hippodrome and any of what those guys have done, because they did a fantastic job and I had a really, really good trip. I would say in general, Las Vegas seems to be suffering like massively. Like as a place, I think it's very confused about what it wants to be. There is this sense that they're trying to clean up Vegas and making it a bit more classy. There's a sense that they don't know if they want like lots of people to be there spending a little bit of money, or they want only rich people to be there spending a lot of money. And I think that it's difficult to strike the balance of what that looks like as well, because I think both have merit. But it's problematic when you go somewhere that's supposed to be really nice and it feels really cheap, but it's really expensive. Or when you go somewhere that's actually meant to be really cheap, but it turns out to be really nice and it's really inexpensive. Like it's super, super strange. Like in a single hotel, like the different amenities that they have can be so far reaching and different. I don't know. It's very weird. It feels like a lot of Vegas has lost its like identity as well. There was that time when like a lot of casinos opened up, and now they all had loads of casinos open. They all had their own gimmick and they all had their own style. And it was like, this is a giant circus tent. And you're like, whoa. And you're like, this is like a zoo and there's flamingos and stuff, you know. All of the hotels had a much clearer vision, I think, before. And now when you walk through, it's just kind of the same. Also, just they're so greedy with their bets. Like, I'm not a big table gambler. I don't play much blackjack or anything like that. I enjoy gambling with my friends a lot. I'll go and hit a slot machine with my friends. That's fine. All the slot machines are pretty much the same, owned by the same company. The lowest min bet that I saw was $5, which I think is fair. That was in like 4 queens on like a mini craps table, and the minimum went to 15 later on in the evening, which again is like, okay, that's still, if you go to any of the strip hotels like away from Fremont Street, it's like $25 min, $50 min. Like $25 min playing craps is like a lot. You're easily betting like $75 minimum as soon as you get on a point. And then if you want to make any other bets, like you're easily flipping like $100 every roll of the dice or something. It's just kind of crazy. And I'm not much of a dice player either. So there we go. A couple questions here from Marshmallow as well. Nice, welcome back. Flamingo and MGM, those are kind of dumps. No, I always enjoyed the Venetian and Win for Poker. Orleans too, although had some very, very serious bad beats. So no, I wasn't there for poker. I was just listing hotels that I had visited. Park MGM, I would say, is actually decent. It's also one of the only non-smoking hotels on the Strip. My uncle had a really nice suite there, so we went to go check that out. The floor seemed nice. The actual casino itself seemed fine. Again, just kind of cookie cutter. Flamingo, definitely way more run down. But again, I was just traveling through there. That's where my dad was staying. And all these are just on Central Strip, right? So you're just fine to walk through them. Venetian, I think, is one of my favorites. I think the Wynn is probably one of my favorites. Venetian and Wynn for poker, very, very good. Downtown for poker, very good. Orleans for poker, very good. Completely agree. I only ended up playing like 2 sessions. The only other person I've known to drink Bloody Mary is Dot Cotton. Well, that's the issue with the English perception of Bloody Marys. You know, that's what we're going to change with my new company. Marshmallow says, Gordon Ramsay just for the marketing, overpriced immo, but still good. Fuku Burger is my favorite, but Holstein's is also a great burger joint downtown. Did you make it off strip for any good food? The furthest off strip I went was like Fremont Street, and technically that's the old strip, right? I actually ended up having some really good sort of classic American steak dinner situations on two occasions. I went with my Uncle Mike to a place called Hugo's Cellar, which was in 4 Queens. there are probably better steak dinner spots, but it was very old school and it was delicious. It was absolutely, I wouldn't change it. It was really good. We actually had a very similarly menued meal at Circa, which was courtesy of the Hippodrome, which I thought was stunning, really, really good. In general, we didn't hunt out too many specific food places. We did hunt out a fair number of Bloody Mary spots that we thought would be worth looking into. Tony says most slot spins are 50 cents or 75. I mean, the cheapest I saw was $1 most of the time, unless you were playing one of like the really old school machines, in which case, yeah, maybe 50 cents, but it's almost always a minimum of $1 now, which, you know, my mom and my grandma used to go and sit and play for pennies all day, and they had a great time. And it's just like, if you've got a machine, like a static machine that just sits there and, you know, you're catering to people that just want to gamble really small, I don't see what the harm in that is. I don't know what to do here, guys. I feel like we need to call, unfortunately, but I do feel like sometimes they've rivered us here in this situation. They just had a set of threes the whole time. That's fine. Let's take a note of this as well. This is very important because there are several things we want to make a note of here before we move on. So first of all, flat 33, big blind, first button, multi-way, 20 effective. So did not choose to put his pocket pair in the middle, which is very unconventional, but that's fine. Just want to be aware of that. And then check, call, check, call, donk half, pot was flop set. Also, the line itself is something that we want to note down too, because in future, if we encounter him taking this line, we can give it a little bit more credit for a strong hand. Sorry, did I say Hard Rock, Tony? I meant Planet Hollywood. We were staying in Planet Hollywood. So Marshmallow, that was kind of my point about the Gordon Ramsay burger is, like, it's in my mind 100% just marketing, whatever. And then when I looked at the menu, I'm like, I don't think that Gordon would have any oversight over any of this. Like, all of this is very like American style. The only things that kind of were a tip of the hat to Gordon Ramsay were like there was a beef Wellington burger or something, or there was an idiot sandwich, or, you know, all that stuff from the TV show. But the actual quality of the food, it was very, very good. I mean, it's not my favorite burger in the world. It's not gonna top my favorite burgers ever, but it was surprisingly very good. Nettie says, years ago, I remember my mom and dad would play hours and hours to get, they would get comps. So that's still a thing. I do know people still get comps. I just think that the way I understand it, you have to be quite a consistent player to get comps anymore, and the comps aren't anything like they used to be. My uncles were telling me that back in the day, they would just get an email and they'd be like, come stay for 7 days for free. All you got to do is like put $1 in a slot machine every day and just keep your account alive or whatever. And now, you know, like you can have like diamond status or whatever. And the most you get is like free parking most of the time. Yeah, I mean, Undersea Monkey, the numbers are there, but also I've seen a lot of people arguing that like this is all part of Vegas's strategy. Like they're trying to cater for wealthier clientele rather than trying to get as many people like through Vegas as they were before. That seems like kind of a cop-out to me. I feel like a place like Vegas should be able to easily do both. You should be able to get the numbers you used to get in. Let's play this as a call. You should be able to get the same number of people in the door you know, playing low stakes and still cater to the high stakes crowd. I don't think you need to pick and choose, but I've heard people say like, oh, Vegas isn't in a slump. They're just like doing things differently from how they used to, like whatever. Thank you very much for the sub, Mac. Feels like just yesterday indeed. But yeah, I don't know. I've had a lot of people who have been to Vegas way more than me. Like people like Strag. Strag has spent a lot of time in Vegas, like a lot of time, and he was there, you know, through different stages of its sort of different eras of Vegas, as if you will. Yeah, I've heard that, Mac. Yeah. Well, this is a really annoying turn. I think I'd prefer if we just made a straight once in a while. So annoying, dude. No 4, no 5, no straight. 2 streets. Slurpee says not entirely true for perks. Caesar still has great awards if you get 7 stars. Right, but what does 7 stars involve? Look, I'm not Mr. Knowledgeable about it, to be honest. What I would say is I feel like Vegas is a little bit, it's just a little bit more corporate than I think it once was. Anyway, sorry, going back to the original question. This is some time ago. Do you still get free drinks? You do still get free drinks. The number of waitresses on the floor is like a fraction of what it was when I first experienced Vegas. I was staying at Excalibur, super budget, nothing fancy, no special perks, no special cards, and I was told you got to tip your waitresses. So I was tipping my waitresses generously. There was like not 5 minutes to 10 minutes would pass if they weren't around asking me if I wanted a drink. At one point I had like 3 drinks on top of a slot machine. And it was the same everywhere I went, really. It was like, you know, if you were playing, you really got treated well. In Resorts World, the last time I was there, I feel like I saw a waitress every hour, maybe. And obviously, with the increase in the price of the games that you're playing, and including slot machines, you could be sitting there for a few hours, like grinding, and you could be winning, and you might get a few drinks, but you could have literally just lost your ass 2 seconds ago. And as soon as you do, like, you know, you feel like you really haven't gotten your money's worth. Like if they're coming around at like an awkward pace to like the way you're playing, like there were so many times in Vegas, even this trip, where I was playing for a little bit and I'd stand up and literally the waitress would walk right past for the first time and I'd be like, you know, at the poker table, again, that used to be way more frequent. When I played at the Venetian, even, I definitely got like plenty of free drinks because you're still sitting in the same spot for hours. So you do have a bit more sort of natural exposure, I would say. But even then, I would say that it was like 1 waitress for a room of like 40 tables. So it was pretty, maybe 2. Sports Gamble or Pai Gow. I can't say that I get Pai Gow either. I enjoy playing Pai Gow with my friends, but I don't know. It just feels like you have to make a royal flush to make any money. It's kind of crazy. Slurpee says, Nick, I think your real problem was not slamming the 1-2 deck blackjack on the strip and the high roller. Yeah, maybe. Blasting Baccarat. It's not my scene. I mean, look, at the end of the day, and this is a very important caveat. At the end of the day, if you guys ever catch me in Vegas, you know where to find me. I'll be playing cash all day long, having the time of my life, making friends, drinking cocktails. Beautiful. When I am forced, I say forced, this isn't really true. When I'm in the environment where I'm actually hanging out with people and I'm not playing cards all day long, I'm kind of doing the normal Vegas experience situation. And for me, that isn't, I don't know. I guess I'm just not that much of a gambler in that vein. You know? In Fremont. I mean, Fremont, I actually prefer Fremont Street, to be honest. I know Fremont is a little bit grimy, but to me, that feels so much more Vegas-y, like realistic Vegas. And it kind of just knows what it is, and it's a little bit tacky, and it's nice. Paris had hardly any waitress on the floor. Orleans was good for free drinks. I honestly think off-strip, I had better service. I think there was a much better service at Four Queens, much better service at Orleans. You know, all of the above. Marshmallow says, money buys solitude. Ultra rich don't want to wait in line with Joe Schmo. Casino's going to cater to the wealthy first. So, I mean, I kind of agree with that, Marshmallow. I kind of agree with that. And there's a certain truth to what you're saying there. But I don't feel like they're getting either of those things right. Do you know what I'm saying? If their policy is we're only catering to the ultra rich and they cater to the ultra rich in that fashion, I would be like, makes sense. Story checks out. But they're still trying to sort of please everyone, but they're not really doing any of it particularly well. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example, but it just feels like everything is too expensive. And then the quality of what you're getting is never good enough for the price. I think that's a good way to describe it. And I've seen some of the quote unquote ultra rich amenities, and again, they just don't feel like they're as nice as they should be for the price that you're paying, because you're paying like a super duper premium. Here's a good example. Here's a great example. If you watch any YouTube content about people who travel and they do like ultra luxury travel, great example, Trek Trendy. You guys have never seen Trek Trendy. He's one of like the OG travel YouTube vloggers. He will spend tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands on certain things, certain experiences, right? Really, what would be considered ultra luxury things. And he's done a lot in the cruise ship environment. So he'll go on the cruise ship and he'll stay in like the nicest suite you can buy, and he'll show you what you're getting for 50 grand, 60 grand, like these stupid huge numbers. It depends which cruise ship, but I believe he spent upwards of like 50 and 60 grand, maybe even more than that on some of these experiences. Now, is it the nicest suite on the ship? Yes. Is it really cool? Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool for like, you know, a suite you got on a ship with like 100,000 other people. Could you have a way more luxurious experience just getting your own fucking ship for $60,000 and getting your own skipper and your own staff and your own onboard masseuse and all? You could just do all that stuff so much better. Like, for the amount that you're spending, I would just really feel like you should be getting something that is like world class. So for example, if you spent money on a trip on the Orient Express, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before. Orient Express, historic, really like relatively small numbers board every single time it travels. It is like true VIP, true once in a lifetime. You're on the actual Orient Express, like the actual thing that the other people have traveled on all those other times. There's not a million other Orient Expresses. There's lots of luxury trains, but there's only one Orient Express. The food is like literally like 5 stars, Michelin star, blah, 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 blah. The service is like off the chain. Everything is like the finest champagne. Everything is the finest bed linen. It's a once in a lifetime experience. You're paying for something legit, right? Meanwhile, somebody's spending like $80,000 for the nicest suite on a boat where other people are paying like $500 for the same experience just with a smaller room. And it's like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's just very, it feels disproportionate for something that is relatively commonplace. Like, you can stay in the nicest possible suite and you can restrict yourselves to just like the clubs that are super VIP or the high roller room that's all like tailored to your needs because you're like a high roller gambler or whatever. But then you're still traveling amongst like, you know, the normal folk, as it were, if that was something that like upsets you. I don't believe in that. Obviously, I want to go to Vegas and I want to indulge myself in the humanity and be surrounded by people of all kinds and like have a good, that's why I like poker. That's why playing poker in Orleans or Venetian or whatever is so good to me. I've met some lovely people. I've met people from all walks of life. All of that to me is more valuable, and that's not predicated on me spending more money to have a better experience. Do you know what I'm saying? Tony says, MLB, because gambling is so easy to do online now, Vegas is losing so much on the tables to compare. I think that's a huge issue, Tony. I think that is absolutely hit the nail on the head. There was something I was watching where they were saying, you know, they have a big problem in the sports books because they spent loads of money decking out their new sports books in like these new builds in Vegas, which are totally awesome. And then the guys will sit there in the chairs and they'll just literally make the bets on their phone, right? They'll get on American gambling platforms, some of which are just completely illegal. And they're getting like way better odds, or they're betting against other people on the internet, or, you know, whatever they want to do. And I think when you're running a big, beautiful sports book with like huge screens and all the amenities, and they're sitting there and the waitresses are coming around, they're giving them drinks, and they're not actually gambling because all the odds are bad or they can do better online, blah, blah, blah. That feels like a losing enterprise for sure. Undersea Monkey says, forced to hang out with people without playing poker, I feel seen. I mean, it's that's not really what I was saying. It's like, what I mean to say is, the way that I've always experienced Vegas is, I'm sorry guys, I still have a cold from Vegas. Let me get a proper tissue. Keep sniffling. What I'm saying is, the way that I've always experienced Vegas is primarily in a poker room, which is a lot of the stuff that I like, which is this sort of the social aspects, the community aspects, you know, feeling like I'm sitting in one location. The waitresses know what the deal is. They know what I'm ordering. They're just working that one space, so you know that they kind of know what the deal is. They know when they've been around to see you. They're not just wandering aimlessly around the floor, and, you know, they, like, absolutely no shade on the waitresses. I think probably the bigger issue isn't their ability to do their job well. It's more to do with the fact that there is a casino floor that's the size of like 5 football stadiums, and there's like 2 girls working the entire room, and like, how is that fair at all, right? But this trip, because I was seeing my family and stuff, it made it a lot more touristy, and there was a lot more walking, and there was a lot more sightseeing, and there was a lot more coming and going, all of which I really, really, really sincerely enjoyed. And it was so nice to see my family and spend time with them, and I wouldn't change it at all. But obviously, it's a very different experience than what I'm kind of used to based on my usual trips. Also, what the hell, right? 7s and 8s, huh? This guy min raises. Okay, cool, fine. CJ says Sportsbook was so good. The new Sportsbook at Circa is absolutely awesome as well. I really wish I had more time to check that out. But also Circa has Stadium Swim as well. They have the pool with the screens that wrap around the pool. That was something that we wanted to do. But again, there's another great example of something that there is a perfect example of what I think is maybe kind of systemically wrong with Vegas. Is you can go to Circa, you can go see Stadium Swim, and it really is quite something to see. And it's probably feeding into their sports book in some way, shape, or form, because you can obviously gamble in the games that you're watching. And if you want to go and just whatever, this is stupid. If you wanted to go and check it out, you can go check it out. I don't know if there's a cover to go out there, but they obviously just have regular sunbeds. I'm pretty sure there is a small cover if you want to go out there. In the Las Vegas heat, in summer, because in winter it's too cold anyway. It does actually get cold in Vegas, too cold for the pool. In the summer, the way they have it set up is there's like absolutely no shelter from the sun whatsoever, right? There's a bunch of sunbeds, but if you put up a bunch of umbrellas, you're going to block the view from the people watching behind. So now what you probably want to do is you probably want to rent like a bed. The beds don't have any covers, so then you go, well, maybe I want something that's covered where we have a bit of shade. No, you want to rent a cabana. You want to rent a cabana, well, you have 4 options all the way up to like the executive premium super suite, which has air conditioning and like, you know, private bar and a private staff and all this stuff. So really what they're saying is, we've got this really cool idea, guys. It's going to be like a pool and it's going to be like a sports book, and we want you guys to come and enjoy it. Great. And then what they do is they go, if you actually want to stand outside, you either need to face the Las Vegas sun bearing down on you at 1,000,000,000,000 degrees, and just figure that out. I don't know, put on some sunscreen or whatever. Or you need to pay money for a cabana, which is like basically like 4 levels up, I guess, 3 levels up from just like being like a normal admission, and will cost you like at the bare minimum $600 at a time when there's no games on, and at a time when we're probably like completely off season. So it's sunny enough for the pool to be open, but there's no game on. It's going to cost you $600 for a cabana for like a 2-hour slot or something like that. Then it's game day. Now it's like $1,500, $2,000 for the cabana. And all of a sudden you need to either have lots of friends to share it with, in order to like make it kind of cost effective, or you just need to ball out in order to just basically have a livable, passable experience to go and do something which should theoretically just be awesome for everybody involved, and probably would be better if everyone was involved. But it feels like they've designed it in a way to sort of intentionally force you to spend way more money than most people want to in that environment. Having said that, that might be a better example of paying for VIP and paying for a little bit more solitude. Like, if I go and spend $2,000 at Stadium Swim, I do kind of want to feel like, you know, it's just our space as well. Slurpee says a huge reason a lot of the big sports gamblers don't bet in person is because they force KYC on any bet above 1K. Well, Slurpee, that, and then on top of that, if you're an American citizen and you win over $3,000, you got to pay whatever 33% tax on the win. I think it might be different state to state, but something like that. There's just a lot going on, you know. But I guess that's kind of what makes me sad is Vegas is supposed to be this carefree, rebellious, live and let live, live and let die, you know, balls to the wall, no rag rats situation, and it just feels like none of that anymore. You go up to make a bet and they KYC you and you're like, oh, okay, what happens in Vegas, right? Am I right? Hey guys, what happens in Vegas, right? Am I right? So they KYC you, and then when you win, they want you to log your win because it was over $3,000 with the IRS and pay tax, and then pay for parking, and give them your license plate, and pay for parking. It's not giving me no regrets vibes, you know. All right, really quick, guys. I want to mark this one for review because this spot is an interesting one. I really don't know. Not sure what to make of that. Yeah. Yeah, Slurpee, like 100%, and it's still not impossible to get comps, and like, you know, that softens the blow to a certain degree, absolutely. I would say especially if you're a poker player, sorry, especially if you're a cash poker player. But yeah, brutal is the word I would use, Slurpee. Definitely brutal. The other thing that I find really funny too is, so obviously I have a lot of friends that go to Vegas every year for World Series. The other thing that I've noticed, which I think is really funny, is everybody has an idea in their brain about how they're gonna make Vegas like more affordable, and they all have these like schemes. And like for example, they'll say, oh, I got it all figured out, we're gonna get an Airbnb just off strip, and that's gonna save us a bunch of money. Now theoretically, totally sign off on this. The problem that you encounter is being just a little bit off strip has varying degrees of inflexibility. And often, if you want to travel during peak times, the amount of time that you lose in traffic, or the amount that you pay in traffic for the transportation that you require, just ends up canceling out, you know, just being on strip and paying a little bit more for a hotel room. So often, car rental and everything like that as well is just like obscene. Also, there's a lot of stipulations that come with that, and not everyone even, like, you know, not even everyone can say that they even adhere to that sort of thing. Against the unknown player here. Okay, let's just be sensible. Okay, enough of this nonsense. Oh, okay. Queen. Queen. I don't know what we're doing here. Okay, that's definitely going to be noteworthy because that was a mega punt. But yeah, you know, people will say, "Oh, you know, we're gonna get an Airbnb. I'm gonna share it with my friends." Then they get an Airbnb. Then they spend all their money on transport. Or like, the other thing is, if you're gonna go, if you're there to play tournament poker, the you know, theoretically you should be locked in for really long days. So you should travel once and travel back. But that's never how it works. And also, I would argue that if you're going to go out there purely to play poker and try and play it for profit, I'm not even going to use the word professionally, having the peace of mind of knowing that you can just walk back to your hotel room in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes is like so nice. Even if you're a cash player, like I really like the idea that you can just say, I'm going to go downstairs, I'm going to check out the game, and if it's not good, I can just go back upstairs and get fucking room service. That feels so good to me, like as a concept. And that gives me a lot of peace of mind because it means that like when I go downstairs, I'm not trying to make anything happen. I'm going to go downstairs, I'm going to check out the games. If it's looking good, we're going to play. If it's not looking good, we're going to walk. And I don't feel like there's a penalty. But if I jumped in a taxi and I went to Venetian and I was like, these games suck, I mean, that's never going to happen because it's Vegas, so that's not that big of an issue. But, you know, you could just be like, I'm not really feeling it. Like, maybe the game is great, but you feel like you're not playing well. But because you're trying to make something happen because you've paid for the transport and you know it's going to take you 30 minutes to an hour to get back home, you're like, oh, no, I got to force myself to play. And all of a sudden, your sessions take us a turn for the worse. So, you know, that behavior might actually become a little bit expensive in itself. There is definitely something to be said for that, for sure. It's interesting what poker players. Everyone's a bit different in that regard too, but I would say generally speaking, most people perform their best in terms of poker when they feel relaxed and they feel as though they have like the peace of mind to make the decision to not play as well. Like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of people will say, oh, like the game was so good I had to play it. And you're like, yeah, but you were like in a really bad mood and like it's not a good time for you to play right now. They're like, yeah, but I drove 2 hours to be here, so like what else am I gonna do? And it's like, and then it ends up being a terrible session, and then they're on tilt, and then they're on more tilt because they knew that I told them and they like weren't listening to me, and I was right the whole time. It's a funny thing, and having a base of operations that's very near to a poker room, I think is honestly more of an investment than trying to save $50 a night or whatever. Because if you're playing really well in Vegas, I think you can do very well in the poker itself. The game I was in Venetian probably wasn't even the softest game in that room, and it was still the softest game I've played in like 12 months. Okay. See what we can do here. The king of poker. He is unavoidable. Tony says, I thought I'd switch to YouTube because Twitch just tried a 90-second long ad break during play. 15-second ads are okay, but 90 is a joke. I didn't even know that that was a thing, mate. I don't even know if I can turn that off. Let me take a look at my settings here. So I think because I'm not a partner, I don't have control over ad length, but I might be wrong. Creator dashboard. Let's make this 2.4. Now, can pocket jacks possibly work out for me here? Can I possibly win a pot with pocket jacks? Interesting. Interesting. Pocket jacks are fine. Monetization. Ads. Ads are automatically scheduled. Okay. How many minutes of video ads do you want to run per hour? So I've got it on the lowest possible setting. I don't think I can change it outside of that. Pre-roll ads for incoming viewers is fully disabled, so that's good. Ad length is automated. Okay, manual. Okay, let's change that. Let's do a 30-second ad every 10 minutes. Okay, there you go. I do actually have some control. Thank you for pointing that out to me, Tone. I'm gonna fix that for you, buddy. We could check raise this. We could be really cheeky here. We didn't pick up any equity though. All right, there we go. So what if he just has 6-7 on the river? That'd be cool. What if he has 5-6 on the river? Nice hand, pocket nines. That's interesting because if we did pick up equity, there's a chance we could still get nines to fold there. That probably would have been sweets. The Twitch ads for anyone not subbing. True, Mac, true. Tony, you've exposed yourself. Yeah. It's almost time for my most despised meeting of the day. Believe me, I'd like take the brutality of being in Vegas. I love how we're talking about the privilege of being in Vegas is brutal, you know. Very, 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 very first world problems we're discussing here. To be fair, it's less of a complaint and more of a conversation of love, right? Because I want the places that I want places that I enjoy to be the best possible versions of themselves. That's all. A mega punt is like a mega pint. Yes, Tony. All right. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Oh, that was a snap check. That was a snap check. All right, I guess we're gonna commit here. Never mind. Nice hand, buddy. All right, not bad. I think the shove there is probably okay. I probably wouldn't have shoved there. I probably wouldn't have shoved there, but I would have gone broke with it regardless. Nice. Spin and go championship. That's right. So today, I think we're winning some money today, guys. We're up $100 so far. We're not winning any EV, but that's just been what we're doing this year so far. Winning EV is not something that we're doing today, apparently. It's not something that we're doing this year. It's gonna be all right. King 9. All right, let me try some, guys. I'm going to turn on this fan. Let me know if this is noisy or not. Now, theoretically speaking, my microphone should be blocking the audio out here. Any background noise, any repetitive background noise, I should say. So the fan should be relatively silent, I think. Actually, I can test this myself. Technically, there's no input right now. Just for the sake of experimentation, guys, let me know if you can hear that fan going. You cannot defeat the King of Poker, chat. You can't do it. You cannot defeat the King of Poker, no matter how hard you try. We have a tray. We have a tray. We have a tray. Oh man, you guys, this new chair is so good. This new chair is so comfortable. Oh man, my back. Triple ace queen for the win. All right, $100. Let's go. Ace 9 is a good hand. I would love if you would shove like Ace 4 here. That'd be cool. Could definitely sign off on that. Okay. Bloop, 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 bloop. Whoa, Pocket Kings is a good hand. Don't you dare. Man, we got a couple notes on this gentleman. Ace 10 suited, blindy blind, 25 effective in position. Secret raise pot, multi-way, small lead, small blind versus big blind button, let's not give up. All right, so softly, softly, gonna try and catch this monkey. I'm gonna do something weird. I'm gonna do something a little bit weird because it feels good. And $100 on the line. Pocket 8's definitely got to go in the middle there if we need to. Queen 6 almost definitely can shove this one. I think we can play it as a call if we so desire. This should be more our board than his. Much more so, in fact. I walk away, I come back with queens. Let's go. $100. Nice. I accept your proposal, sir. So, nice. Okay, cool. Again, if anybody is watching out there, let me know if you guys can hear the fan. I want to know if the technology is working. I want to know if the mic technology is, in fact, functioning as expected. King of Poker. The King of Poker. The King of the Pokers. Oh, what? Oh, he's just so not bluffing here. It's so painful. That is truly, truly agonizing there. We fold to live another day, I guess, but the King Jack spot being double check raised by the King of Poker. And then just lose the Ace King anyway, because whatever. Being double check raised by the King of Poker and in a spot where like there's absolutely no check raise bluffs. That feels weird. Doesn't feel great. We made a big fold, we got rewarded, and then immediately punished. Tricky spot now. We do have top pair. It's hard to make top pair. I would say, generally speaking, when we incentive to represent an ace here is so strong, we need to play it slow. Again, we're not playing these spots that close to GTO because GTO wants you to basically always check raise an ace in these situations, but they want you to use like really wacky sizes. They want you to use like really wacky sizes, and it's just something that nobody is really doing. We bet we get called here by King 7, which is King High. Feels good, and this is probably going to be fine for a steal, potentially. Let's give that a try. Not quite. Not like that. We're trying to make a call. We're trying to make a count. Not like that. Not like that. All right, give me some hands here, please. Fold, fold, fold. Fine. Well, we had the best hand. King of Poker is unbeaten at all times. I'm probably not folding top pair here, guys. Not gonna lie. NGL. NGL. Nice hand, brother. Cool spot. All right, we'll mark the King 9 for review as well. Whatever, dude. Whatever, dude. Hello, Lisa. Pretty good spot. Nice. Chipping away, chipping away. Pair of nines. Diamond flush draw to go with our 9.
Does it
What's up, guys? Welcome. Hello, everyone from Team 651 Poker. Welcome to Nick Walsh TV. We're about to lose this pot. Are you with me? Never mind. There's a chance. Aces with the ace of diamonds would be just priceless. Two black kings would be just priceless. How do I know? How do I even know? It's so stupid, man. Team 651 says, thought you were still in Vegas. How was it? No WSOP spin event. No, there's no WSOP spin event yet. Not to my knowledge. Vegas was great. I just arrived back yesterday, or Sunday, I should say. Thank you very much for the raid once again. Vegas was good. Played a little bit of cash. Really enjoyed that. And I'm straight back into the flames here. Straight back into the flames with this really cute little spot. I'm going to put this one in for review. We have marked that hand. I don't see how we can play our hand any differently, to be honest. Yeah, whatever. Hello, Pumplex. Good to see you, mate. The grind continues. The two-reg bonanza that I like to call spin goes. Oh, the comedy never, ever ceases. The comedy never, ever ceases with Spin and Goes and my relationship with them. Very sad. Hello, Jakers. We'll take a look at all these in a moment, guys. We're coming up to 5 o'clock now anyway. So what we'll probably do is we'll play to 5, and then we'll fire up some study software, and we'll take a look at some hands we have marked. I think we've only got a handful too. We got 4 so far. Just kind of another relatively uneventful spot here, guys. In general, we are not going to win any chips against two-reg games. We've had a lot of those over the course of this year so far. We are up chips overall, as you guys have seen from the graph. We're not up enough chips. We need to be up more chips. I would love to see a 4 on this river. Very fair. Do not expect top pair to folds. Cause I'm trying to live. I'm sick from the noise. I'm still trying to figure out this new chair, guys. Oh man, it is really comfortable though. Jeez. Oh, that's kind of nice. Definitely okay with this. Okay, $100. King of Poker. Can we do it? Can we stay in profits is the question. Can we stay in the Profola? So limped pot with the Queen of Clubs. Quick check on the turn. Two big blinds roasted. Cool, just a luck box. Let's mark this one for review as well. I think the idea is we're supposed to check raise here with a lot of our jacks because we can get it in against quite a few draws. Obviously, it being rainbow, that reduces the number of flush draws our opponents have, so maybe it's not so good, but... Okay. Oh, two unknown players? Come on, give me a multi. Give me a decent multi, please. Okay. $100, two unknown players. Let's see if we can't win a couple chips here. This would be really, really nice if we can make it a reality. Okay, King 10 of diamonds. Let's do this. Let's do this. How can we possibly lose? Our opponent has a 5, by the way. We've got a pretty well-disguised ace here. Definitely can't fold flop.
Does he ever lose? This guy,
TPK, thank you for the follow.
does he ever lose?
right, this guy's limping at 8.5 for some reason. Would love to just flop a flush or something. That'd be kind of cute, right? Guess not. Quick check on the flop is interesting. I'm going to probe here. Ace King, what could go wrong? Ace King, what could possibly go wrong? Flush draw on the turn, huh? Lovely stuff. Really lovely hair. Really lovely. Really lovely stuff. Really, oh, just stunning stuff right here, guys. Absolutely gorgeous. Middle pair, flush draw on the turn. Absolutely gorgeous stuff there. And they check the river as well. Wow. Very, very cool. Very cool, heartbreaking stuff. Very, very cool. Very exciting. Very fun.
Does he ever lose? This guy.
Hey, Bones, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate you. That is so annoying. This fucking hand is so annoying. Just make me restart the thing as well. Sure. Sure. Not a fold. Definitely not a fold. I mean, I find it difficult to imagine that betting this turn is ever bad because they're just not going to play a 10 this way. They're probably not going to play even a better 9 this way. They're not going to check raise the turn. Once they check raise, we can't fold. We have too much hand. I mean, it's just the story of 2026 here, I'm afraid. Not only does our opponent improve, they improve in a way which inspires us to put in additional chips, which allows them to put the rest in here. We managed to lose the minimum somehow. Nice hand. All right, let's play another one. 2026 is ridiculous. Oof, it is so hot. So nobody has confirmed. Can you guys hear the fan? I've got a fan on right now. I think the microphone is masking it. Poker player can't hear the fan good. Can't hear the fan good. Okay, what if I turn it up? How about now? Doesn't look like the mic is picking it up. It is super, super, super duper hot.
Does he ever lose? This guy.
Strag, thank you very much.
Does he ever lose?
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. All right, guys, let's play a couple more games, then we'll do some review.
Does he
Nice
ever
hand,
lose?
sir.
This
Nice
guy.
hand, dude.
Does he ever lose?
Lust for Life, thank you very much for the follow. Strag, thank you for the sub, man. Really appreciate it. 17 months. Tier 1, baby. Strag says, how's the jet lag? Also, just so you're aware, it's 20 and a lovely light breeze off the sea here. So to be fair, Brighton is actually much cooler than it was when I left. But it is still very, very hot. I actually don't even know if the window is open in the next room. How is it jet lag? It's not bad. To be honest, Strag, I don't even know if I ever got onto Vegas time in the first place. I know theoretically coming this direction is meant to be harder, but I don't think I ever actually got onto Vegas time, even though I tried really hard to you know, do the sleep thing and stay awake on the plane and all the other stuff. This is an interesting one. I think we probably can still have a stab at it. Yeah, the door is open. Window is open. Spade! Oh, never mind. I'm dead on the turn. All right, cool. Let's play one more, guys. Vegas has no time. Yeah, exactly. Also, Vegas has no soul. More recently, Vegas has no vibe. Yeah, we were discussing that, Strag, earlier on. A lot of people feel the same way. I mentioned that. I mentioned about what a great trip it was and how much I really enjoyed everyone's company, and you know what the Hippodrome organized was fantastic. But yeah, a lot of people feeling the same way, mate. What's up, Lawler? Hope you had an amazing time in Vegas. I cashed. I got top 500 in the Mr. Millions, 22nd and 17th in 2 different win 1100s. Won every cash game session. Spent lots of time with Ronnie and her family. That is fantastic, mate. I'm really sorry I missed you. I actually didn't see Joe. I didn't see Aaron. I didn't see any of the Poker News people. I only got a chance to see Big Lee because he actually came to the pool party event that we were having with the Hippodrome. Otherwise, it was fully dominated by the family situations, which was also very lovely. But yeah, I didn't see Rania. I didn't see loads of the legends. I missed most of the legends. All right, let's keep playing until we win a game here, guys. This is a bar. Spinning goes are bumming me out, and I've only just returned from Las Vegas. Is hang some art a euphemism for something weird? Nope. Just like that. I mean, that's I don't think I have permission to hang my tacky Las Vegas casino chip cushion on the wall, but we've got a stack of art that's going to go on this wall before the bed goes in. Yeah, I mean, you know what it's like in Vegas, Lola. You know what it's like, buddy. It was great. It was really good. It was really good. By the way, guys, this is a top Las Vegas hack that I have long suspected but never tested. So, as many of you know, there are some beautiful pools in Las Vegas. There are some beautiful clubs that you can pay to go and sit by the pool, all of which these days are extremely expensive. And as I was mentioning earlier with the other clubs, for the most part, you can't just go and pay admission. You have to get a cabana, or you've got no service, you've got no shade, and it's intolerably hot if you don't have shade. So, top hack for Las Vegas: go to Topgolf. Everyone should go to Topgolf when they go to Las Vegas anyway. Go to Topgolf, play some golf, bring your suit. When you're done playing golf, go and enjoy the pool on the 3rd floor, completely free, swim up bar, really clean, really pretty. Quite small, but people don't know about it and they don't use it, so it's like completely quiet all the time. Free cabanas, really, really nice seating area, screens showing sport, all 100% free. Absolutely incredible. Highly recommend. You know, I have 2 of those same cushions. No way. Okay, we're playing until we win. We're gonna play until we win here. That's so funny, Strag. Ruthie picked these out by hands. Thank you for the gift of tier 1 sub, Strag. Appreciate it, mates. Poker player, there you go. You're all set. Hey, Cool Hand Matt, good to see you, buddy. Session today, nothing to report. It's been a relatively short one, to be fair. Yeah. Spammer Kid's fine, yeah, definitely a reg. My goodness. Or just freeload the wind pool cabana like me. I mean, that works too. I mean, freeloading in Vegas is a very, very profitable endeavor if you know the right people. Absolutely. Don the Dude, hello. Thank you for your well-wishing. I appreciate it. Oh my god, what are these hands? What are these hands, bruv? Mine is the 5 and the 25s. Black must be 100, right? I was going to say. yeah, I mean, I can't even describe how nice it was to sit in the Venetian and just play cash for like 10 hours straight. It was really a treat. It's nothing fancy. It is what it is, but oh my god, just to sit on a table and just be like, this is glorious. The peoples are just donking around, taking themselves too seriously. They have no idea what they're doing. It's just great. It's a great time. All right, come on. We're looking for a win. We are looking for a win. Don't think we can fold, guys. We actually have a pretty reasonable shot here. Pretty reasonable. Force holds. Not a win. I cashed out my jackpot winnings from one poker site to another, and variance has not been my friend. Oh dear. Don't like the sound of that, Matt. I don't like the sound of that. Okay, not the best flop. I'm really concerned about whatever we're flatting over here as a reg, by the way. I have serious concerns that the flat and the small blind there is stronger than it should be. Lawler says, oh, I had a bit of an incident at WSOP Cash. I got threatened 4 times physically by a complete YOLO, complete floor failure. The guy got banned next day. Only one dealer stood up for me. What? That is crazy, mate. That is crazy. They let him move from seat 7 to seat 1 right beside me. Didn't know the action 75% of the time. Complete razor. Crazy, mate. Crazy. I'll tell you a funny one from Venetian Cash. So I was playing and I was wearing my patch, of course, as a like a good ambassador. A couple people were eyeing it. They weren't really sure what to make of that. I think also during the series, I would say during the series as well, a lot of people are wearing stuff that could be patched, or maybe it's just branded. And like, you know, there's also a lot of people who are wearing patches who definitely do not work for the companies that they're trying to make it look like they're representing. Let me play this hand quick. Let me figure out how to play this hand really quick. Can I play this one as a check raise? Is a good question. Can I check raise bluff ace king of diamonds? Well, this is funny. The 8 is actually a particularly bad card here. Yeah. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's a bit different. Yeah. Matt, I'm talking to you, Matt. Okay, so I'm sitting in the Venetian. I'm wearing my patch like a good ambassador, and played a couple pots. I won like four or five pots in a row, like all kind of like finesse situations, like lots of check raising. I think I cold 4-bet and showed like a bluff and all kinds of other stuff. It was very cool. So people were already getting a bit of a vibe, and I called this guy down with ace high on 3 streets. Now, yes, it was ace high. It was ace high on a double paired board. And I kind of just like didn't believe him. So I called him down with ace high on a double paired board, and the guy was like, jack high, I've got jack high. And I was like, ace high. I swear to God, 2 people saw me turn over ace high in this spot. And 2 people, sorry, the whole table saw me turn over ace high. 2 people asked for a seat change, and 1 guy asked me for coaching. Like, I think he was joking, but he was like, oh my gosh, oh. This is crazy, this crazy hand. I wish he punched me so I could get a free room for life. That would have been perfect. Patch Bros is a good shout. I like that. I swear to God, 2 people saw me turn that hand over, and they immediately asked the dealer for a seat change chip. 2 people simultaneously. Actually, I ended up having a really nice table though. It was very chill. 4-pot Nick, they call him. Hey, that's fair, poker player. There's no shade in that. That's fine. There's a big difference between like wearing a patch because you like the look of it to like, you know, barbecue, and wearing a patch to an EPT and pretending like you're representing a company. Stolen valor. Here you go. Stolen valor. Mondong Kao. Myeondong Kao. Myeondong Kao. Oh, this is a brilliant flop for us, isn't it, chat? This is an absolute stonker. We're going to mark this for review as well. I do believe we are basically in give up mode. That this board, without a heart in our hand, this board is just maybe one of the worst flops. We'll see in a sec, though. I suppose we got another one for review in a minute once we win a game. We're never winning a game. Oh, chat! We moaned it in. Have they not watched any poker in the last 15 years? The thing, this is what I'm saying is, this isn't a flex. I'm not flexing in this situation. I made a call. I made a call on a double paired board with ace high. This was not even that mega. It wasn't even like that big of a spot. It was probably a 20. It was probably like 100 big blind pot. We probably put in about 50 big blinds a piece. Tony says a lot of stuff that is crazy live is routine online. Exactly. The thing you have to be careful of, you don't want to fall into the trap of doing stuff that you would do online live unless you have a really good read. And I had a pretty good read on the spot. So I called, I had it right. It was not, yes, it was ace high, and yes, it looked really baller, but like it was not that wild of a spot to be winning with ace high is what I'm saying. All right, we win. That's nice. Okay. It was just super funny. And the other thing is, okay, I'm not exaggerating. Two people did immediately ask for a table change, and obviously, you know, that it could have been something else. I think it was in response to what they were watching literally immediately before. But the other thing that I would always advocate for in Vegas is if you're at a poker table and you feel like there's a better poker table two doors down, as in like the next table along, or like, you know, literally at the next casino along the strip, I kind of advocate for just going to find a softer game at all times. So I can't even be like that weird about that, but it was really funny how the turn of events went that way. Anyway, here we go, guys. Let's take a look at how we did today. So we didn't win any EV. We are down $50, and the flat line continues here. We actually went on a bit of a run today with the showdown, and then proceeded to kind of bomb for the rest of the stream until just this last game. Yeah, kind of same this year. This year has been very, 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 very dry. For the first time in our lives, we have a slightly winning / flatline red line, which is obviously an improvement. Red line, blue line doesn't matter, really, in the grand scheme of things, assuming your EV is going up. However, we are not winning any chips at Showdown, which again is another anomaly altogether. But anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about some hands, and let's see if we can learn something from our review today. So I'm going to close up PokerStars, guys. The PokerStars client is now completely closed. That means that we can take a look at some of these hands for review, and we can do some fancy analysis here. Moan Theory Optimal. I should whinge more, honestly. All right, so this is an interesting one. This is actually a particularly good hand to study in GTO Wizard because they have a really big library of these asymmetrical shove spots. What I mean by that, sorry if that's an unusual language for you guys, is there's not going to be a very common 10.8 big blind shove spot here that you've studied. It needs to be solved where the small blind has exactly something around 12 big blinds, and this guy's got around 6 big blinds. And GTO Wizard has actually gone to the lengths to do some of those more unusual solves. If it's not there, we can solve it ourselves, which is also nice because I pay for the premium. That's fine. So this is too unusual. Let's go ahead and solve this one for ourselves. And this is one of the benefits of me paying for the extra bonus money. So let's say the button has 11 bigs. Let's say the small blind has the same. To be fair, this is probably close enough. 11, 11, 6 is going to be fine, I would say. Let's go with this. That's fine. It's not worth solving. 11, 11, 6 is fine. So if you guys look up here, 11, 11, 6 means button has 11, small blind has 11, big blind has 6. This is going to be close enough. So if we look at our calling range here, we have ace-6 offsuit. Ace-7 is actually the cutoff. So this is a little bit too wide. We've made this call too wide here in this position. If we were to actually go and adjust this to be, I mean, I suppose we can still do it. Just out of interest, let's just do a custom solve. So new solution, we're looking at chip EV pre-flop, 3 players. We're looking at 10.8 big blinds. Just for the sake of argument, let's assume the small blind has 10.8. Let's assume the big blind has 6.5. I would imagine that the fact that this guy actually has more big blinds in our custom solution means that it's even less of a call, because if it's not a call for 6 when this guy's shove should be wider, then it probably won't be. Let's assume that we are not limping the button. And then the rest should be fine. Let's create that solution now. Okay, so this guy shoves for 10.8. So actually, ace-6 does sneak in a smidge more, a tiny amount more, which means it's so razor thin that it doesn't really matter. Ace-7 is still going to be the correct call. The only other thing that I can consider here is, no, let's just assume that this is all good. Yeah, so basically, long story short, the call with a6 in this position is too wide. a7 is fine. a7 is 100%. So that's number one. It didn't get that one quite right. In this spot, there is a min raise, and we defend with the 10-3 suited. I don't imagine we do anything other than call. Once we arrived here, our opponent bets one big blind. I don't think for one big blind we can fold really anything that connects. However, this is one of these boards where once we call with bottom pair, our opponents are allowed to barrel the turn very aggressively. So it does feel like you bleed pretty hard here, but we have to just be aware of like the EV here, I suppose. The equity. So yeah, pretty much all we got to do. So anyway, what happens is they bet flop, we call. On the turn, they bet again, we call. On the flop, on the turn, they barrel big, and now we just have to give up, and that's fine. It's good to double check these sort of basic ones, even though they feel simple. So Calvin is asking, you had a spot with the 5-4 suited from the small blind, 16 big blinds effective. Was the shove player dependent or deviation or standard? So Calvin, I actually responded on YouTube to your same question. I'll just reread what I said. So I said it's Nash, but probably a deviation from GTO when you give it all the spots. That means it will show a profit long term, but it isn't optimal if you include other options in the solver. In the faster multipliers, however, I think playing low value positions faster is better for future game simulation. This is purely a theory at the moment, but I have spoken to some other players who do seem to agree. If we're in a spot where we can play push folds in the 2x and 3x multipliers, I think playing the push fold in the spots that are lower value is better in the long term because you get more opportunities to play from better, more valuable positions. So what does that mean? In the small blind, 5-4 suited is definitely going to profit as a push from a theoretical standpoint if you're playing pure push fold. 5-4 suited will profit as a push in that position. The amount that we will gain by playing it as a raise or whatever is probably very minimal. However, if we can play that hand fast and immediately go into a deeper stacked game on the button multi-way, we win much more from the button playing optimally from that position every single time. So we can take a look at it anyway. Let me see if I can find the spot for you. But let's do this one really quick first. So there's an open, we flat the king 9, we arrive here, our opponent bets. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the solver wants to check raise king 9 immediately here. Just out of interest as played, we call, and then they barrel again. Now, when I see a second barrel here, there's going to be a lot of bluffs. There's going to be a fair number of draws, and therefore I think the shove is going to be a thing, but I'm absolutely not sure about this at all. Every time I look at these kinds of spots, I'm always usually a bit shocked at how aggressive we're supposed to be with top pair. The problem that I have is that we need to be balanced for our own game as well as be balanced like in terms of like the theory. If we are not check raising the correct frequencies and the correct sizes often enough, then if we're not check raising as a bluff often enough, then we're probably not going to check raise as aggressively with our top pairs as well. And it's a difficult balance all around. I can't imagine that this is wrong. For example, on the flop, we might check raise more often. So this is approved, obviously, but this is where we can see the deviation. So like I said, my anticipation is GTO wants to check raise king 9 more aggressively. I know that I don't check raise flop as aggressively as GTO as a bluff, and therefore the flat is probably better for me and my style. But here we go. There's a call. They check. This is not expected at all. Not unexpected at all. Playing it as a call though, whatever. Once we see the second barrel here, the call or the shove, same EV, all good. Not really much lost. So this is fine, and I would say probably against real players, this might actually outperform GTO, just because we don't check raise as often as GTO, so it's not as believable that we have bluffs, so our opponents will overfold. And if our opponents are overfolding and under bluffing, then we're gonna probably not make enough from this hand. If we play this as check call, players tend to be very aggressive on king high boards, and we probably end up winning slightly more than the theoretical GTO spot. All right, so just really quickly, let's talk about the spot that Calvin is asking about. So if we go to, let's just say we go to study. Let's take a look at 16. So symmetrical 16. If we start from the small blind. So before we look at this range, my anticipation is that 6-7 suited at 16 will be majority shove. 5-4 suited will be alternative, but I do think it will show a profit regardless. So if we take a look at this spot's, oh, sorry, fold, this is the spot we want to look at. So yeah, here it is. 6-7 suited is a push, 6-5 suited is a mix, so we can still do some pushing. 5-4 suited is not. But if we were to take a look at all strategies, so strategy EV, you can see that the difference between a shove, the difference between an all-in and a raise and a call here is relatively minimal. It's 0.03. Now, theoretically, we probably want to always take any edge we can possibly get in this game. The point that I'm trying to take away is that, you know, the difference between this and this is very similar, you know, 0.24, 0.2, 0.23, whatever. In this spot specifically, 5-4 suited is going to be a very playable hand, and if you wanted to play it as a call or a raise, that's fine. But if we're playing a 2x or a 3x multiplier, by the time we finish playing that hand, because of the ridiculous pace of the current format, we will end up putting ourselves in situations where we might have gone up 1 or 2 levels in the time it takes us to play a very low value spot. So if the shove is 0.11 and we can speed the game along in a way where we, you know, if we can shove here and make 0.11, we're not giving up on playing every hand profitably. We're still taking the spot, but we're hurrying the game along, where if, for example, we get a fold, the very next hand, the value of playing 5-4 suited, for example, is going to be infinitely higher from the button in position. So the value of the shove in this position is 0.11. Let's take a look at the value of a min raise here with a similar hand, 6-5 suited. So these hands, right, suddenly become much higher in value in the way that we are allowed to play them. So all of these combinations that we play in position will be of much higher value. Or we stack our opponent with 5-4 suited, we go heads up, and then we have a much more valuable heads up atmosphere as well. 5-4 suited was a bad example because we don't play it at that stack depth, blah, blah, blah. But you take my point. All good, all good. Yeah, okay, cool. So Queen 9, we are limping, our opponent raises, we call. We flop top pair, our opponent bets. We are not folding, of course. We are aware of the fact our opponents can have very strong hands. They can have Jack 10 still, they can still have Queen Jack, they can still have King Queen. We call. The river is the deuce of diamonds. We now have the Queen high flush draw, and we still have top pair, top two, or not top two, top pair, which is 2 pair. Our opponent bets. At this point, honestly, I'm not feeling good about this hand at all. I just don't see how we could ever possibly fold. This whole hand, everything about this hand, this is like the epitome of why we are absolutely dying this year. Now, no judgment, you know, let's see if we can study the spot. Let's see if we can learn something. I would be very surprised if we've made any massive blunders here. Seems difficult that this is a hand we've played poorly. So let's see. Never ever folding to the 3x ISO with Queen 9. That's fine. On the flop, never ever raising, just got a call. On the turn, we are obviously never folding with the Queen of Diamonds in our hand, especially because we have a made hand as well. On the river, this is interesting that it's unsolved, but let's just take a look. It could be the case that because this is a size that isn't used, that it's confused. So let's actually take a look at the hand from the start and see if we can get something a bit more normalized. So if up to this point, this is fine, right? We know this is all good. Bet 2 is fine, and then we call. That's fine. Turn is the 2 of diamonds. Now the much more frequently used size here is 4.5. I think this is why the computer is confused. It's effectively the same thing though, right? The 4.5 just allows the player from out of position to have more semi bluffs. So let's assume that they do 4.5, and of course we're not folding. So if we take a look at Queen 9 here, we're not folding any Queen 9. Queen of Diamonds, by far, never, ever, ever with the Queen of Diamonds in our hand. We call. The river is the King of Diamonds. And at this point now, this makes a lot more sense. So if we actually take a look at the all-in here, this is more solved for 9.5. Queen 9 with the Queen of Diamonds, never ever folding. Never ever ever folding. It's, yeah, I mean, guys, it's, I'm a streamer. I create content where I discuss poker, so it's very difficult for me to have conversations day in and day out about these spots where it doesn't sound like I'm whining, and I am kind of whining because I'm kind of bored of running like this. But it's very, 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 very difficult in a game of incredibly small edges to have any significant edge when you are consistently on the wrong end of these spots. Now, with enough volume, our opponents will encounter the same level of annoying stuff like this after a certain point since the start of the year, and we've only played 3,000 something games. At some point, every time we started to go up, we just have like four of these spots, 100% of the chips in play, cold blood, 100% on the river. It's like 3 days of red line wiped out in 20 seconds, you know? So it is very difficult, and it's another indication of, you know, how long-term we're talking when we expect the variance in the newest format of spin and goes to flatten out. That means that we can do extremely well in very short stretches, and it means we can do extremely badly in short stretches. One of the cool things about potentially being a decent spin and go player is the ability to make the long stretches of annoyingness into a flat line like we've done here from point A to point B, right? And then when we have our upswing, all of these positive things that we're thinking about, all of these small details and like trying to maximize our value and trying to get the most in every single spot, that should allow us to win at a faster rate than we decline. And with the amount of suffering we've had for the last couple months in spinning goes, for us still to have a somewhat respectable flat line during that time, I think is very strong. It doesn't feel strong. It feels really annoying, but it is definitely, it is something to think about, to remember that we have a process here. We are reviewing spots that we find difficult. We are getting most of these spots right, for better or for worse. And having that thought process and that peace of mind can keep you sane as when you're playing any format of poker. Just knowing that you have some method of self-review, and you can look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and go, okay, I'm not perfect. I could probably always play better, but I think I'm playing pretty well. Calvin says, also, the wife wants to finally start studying and working on her MTT game. What training apps would you recommend in 2026? So Calvin, 100% you're going to want to get some pre-flop ranges. Now, the pre-flop in 2026 is a tricky one, because you want to make sure that what you're getting isn't old material. You want to get stuff that was solved in the last couple of years. You want a way for her to train the pre-flop as sort of frequently as possible, because learning your pre-flop is so important. And especially in MTTs, having access to pre-flop that has ICM applied is also absolutely massive. Let me give you a little spoiler. You would be surprised how much tighter you're supposed to play in MTTs, even after 50% of the field is gone. A lot of people thinking these days ICM is something that's only for final tables, it's only for the final two tables, it's only for the bubble. The more that I've seen and the more content I've watched about ICM study, the more it is vividly clear that ICM begins something around 50% of the field remaining on average, right? So it is pretty shocking how much things change and how quickly that happens. But that also isn't true. So a lot of the ICM that you might learn is also to do with the exploitation of short stacks, if you're a big stack, as you approach major moments in the game. So getting to, 10 off the bubble, if you're a big stack, how much more aggressively can you play your high card combos, etc. Now, what is a good resource? Raise Your Edge has loads of really good video content. BBZ has really good video content. Run It Once has really great video content. GTO Wizard is a fantastic tool. It is very expensive, But GTO Wizard will have all of the pre-flop ranges. It will also give you access to the ICM ranges. It will also give you access to, everything that we're looking at here. The ability to go through individual spots, look at the EV of each spot, look at alternate strategies and how they compare, equity ranges, compare EV, blah, 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 blah. Now, this version is very, very expensive, but I'm using a lot of extra fancy stuff that you probably won't need to begin with. There is a cheaper way to do this, and that would probably involve just finding some basic preflop ranges and then taking it from there. As far as books go, I can recommend Michael Acevedo's Modern Poker Theory. It is dense. It's a hard read, but as you get towards the end of it, it does become more practical. Most books that you will read are going to be massively out of date, unless they're more about the sort of philosophy of poker. The Zen of Poker is a great example. Definitely highly recommend reading that. The Mental Game of Poker 1 and 2, maybe even 3, I can't remember how many there were. That was by Jared Tendler and Barry as well, Barry Carter, I believe. It's Barry Carter, Jared Tendler, I believe. Yeah, Barry Carter, Jared Tendler. Also, I know a guy who his mental coach is Jared Tendler. That's kind of a sick flex, but great game. That's all about mental game. It's all about the philosophy of poker. Those are very valuable too. And yeah, also, Calvin, if you ever have any questions, hit me up on my Discord and I can always help with any individual stuff you got going on. Okay, so Queen 9, yes, we're a genius, but we are losing anyway. Okay, so Jack 6. Check. We arrive here. So now, this is another specific one. We've done a lot of work on these spots because I have been very, very shocked on these. The aggression we are supposed to show with top pair on this board specifically, I think is pretty strong. Check raise here, we get shoved on, I think we need to call. I think this is how this works. This is one of the best regs that we play against, if not the best reg we play against. Let's see, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Okay, the flop is a close spot. That's fine. So once we arrive here, there is a bet. Now, I am interested to take a look at whether or not this is check raised more aggressively when there are flush draws. That would make sense to me. As played, it looks like the computer isn't mad because it's so damn close between these options. We decide to check raise, our opponent jams, and at this point, they prefer the call. So let's take a look and see where we went wrong, because I would say this is probably misplayed in that case. Let's say that it was the 10 of diamonds instead. And there is a bet. Let's see how much more often we check raise. Strategy. So we're taking a look at all the jacks. So on this particular board, actually, they just prefer the call. So we've gotten confused here somewhere. Obviously, check raising top pair is never going to be a bad thing. This is two pair. Check raising top pair is very rarely going to be a mistake per se, but it's just whether or not it's going to be the best and most optimal way to go about doing it. So we do check raise some, but it's actually a small frequency. So we're going to need to go back and double check our thought process here, because this is a board that I would organically prefer to check call, but we're obviously trying to implement strategies that we've not yet understood fully. So I would say that this one is probably a fail. There's probably a better texture than that to check raise, I would imagine, but we'll have to look into that later. All right, cool. So over here we have a open and a call. I would say we can't really fold. We're probably folding very few suited hands here, if any, to a min raise. We arrive with middle pair. Oh, the pain just comes straight back. Our opponent bets. We can never fold. We're not folding middle pair with a backdoor club draw. And sure enough, we pick up clubs and our opponent checks. Now, this is super interesting because theoretically or not, just from a humanistic standpoint, people with a good 9 or a 10 see this turn as a jackpot opportunity to barrel twice. If they have aces, kings, queens, jacks, even more so, this is not a spot where we get check raise bluffed ever. This is not a spot where we get check raise value check raised often. almost all of the value on a double flushing board just wants to bomb pot. They just want to go crazy. They just want to absolutely go nuts. So I do not see any universe where the turn bet is bad. I don't know. I just don't see a downside to betting this turn. When your opponent checks this turn, the frequency that they will have a 10 or jacks or queens or kings or two pair is so small. It just doesn't exist. People just do not play two pair as a check raise turn, like as like a trap check raise. They're too concerned about the hearts. They're too concerned about the straights. To my eye, even regardless of what the solver is about to tell us, I just don't see how betting this turn is ever going to be bad, because it's just like, how can you get this one wrong? First of all, it's almost always a value bet. Second of all, it's a value bet where we have an additional way to improve, right? We end up getting min check raised. At this point, alarm bells are absolutely blowing up, because like I said, this is not the way that people bluff. But the number of hands that people feel are strong enough to play in this manner is so slim. It's like 8-7. It's like literally 8-7. Maybe like top set. That people would put top set in a similar sort of strength category, right? So I don't know. Even having said that, people really hate when their sets get cracked. So I don't know. Let's take a look. The other issue that we have is that the solver isn't going to min check raise the turn, so it's probably unsolved towards the end. Okay, so let's take a look. So we go raise call. Our opponent bets, obviously never folding. On the turn, they want us to check 100% of the time. The difference between betting and checking is very, very small, and I think based on everything that I just said, I do think probably we end up actually doing better than this as a bet. Like, the bet is intentionally designed to keep overpairs with gut shots in. It's intentionally designed to get value from 7s and 8s and stuff like that. Maybe a pair of 6s, maybe a pair of 4s. You're just absolutely shredding. You can see that the difference is very, very slim. However, they want us to check. Fine. Let's say that we do decide to check. Once we've arrived here, 100% call, fine. So whatever, like, you know, like you can see that once we've decided to take our line and we have good reasoning for it, the call is mandatory. And then on the river, it just doesn't really exist, so it doesn't matter. Let's take a look at this turn then. Let's study this, because the reasoning behind the check, I think, is always going to be predicated on the way that your opponent starts playing the turn. So this is what the small blind wants to do. And you will not be shocked to see top pair. Let's do this. Top pair pretty much always wants to bet. Queen 10 is checking, Jack 10 is checking. So this is where I think the deviation is very important. So few people are ever going to miss a bet with Queen 10 or Jack 10 at this frequency, right? If we look at Queen 10 specifically, they want you to check because you have Queen 10 of clubs. You've got top pair in the club flush draw. Fine, whatever, sure. Jack 10 is the same. That's two combinations overall, right? King 10 never misses, right? It's a small frequency because it's not in there pre-flop. Jack 10 never misses. Pocket 10s is the category I described that might still find a trap check. 8-7 off again. These are combinations that just don't exist. The other issue that we have is that this player is playing a range incorrectly probably quite often. 8-7 is almost never played as anything other than a jam pre-flop. So that's even further evidence. The fact that this was played as a min raise pre-flop is even further evidence that, you know, the output is not going to be accurate according to reality, because 8-7, if you think about it, is like 100% jam there blind v blind. Now, does that matter? Like, we're not saying this because we're trying to excuse away the fact that, you know, we deviated very slightly from what GTO considers to be acceptable. It's just that sometimes a baseline GTO output is not rooted in reality if everything that happened before this in the tree is wrong. So if this guy is considering min-raising 8-7 offsuit at 12 big blinds effective when it's played 100% as a push, this entire thing is broken. there's even less reason for us to believe that he has a straight on this turn, and there's even more reason for us to want to value bet. Kings, interestingly enough, actually find a little bit more, almost entirely all checks. That's interesting there. Aces are a little bit more selective on the suits. But in general, I think what we can take away, any way that we need to consider here when we're thinking about this one, because there's just so much that's being changed at a pre-flop level. So Cool Hand Matt says, betting I do think will outperform checking. I do agree. I would struggle for anyone who plays real spin and goes, not just theoretical spin and goes, to disagree with that for sure. Look, it's a pair and a flush draw. It's hard to fuck it up, basically. But I do think that on that turn when your opponent checks, you have the best hand an overwhelming amount of the time. And your opponents are not checking anywhere near as much as they should as a trap, which means that they have almost no value. And the value that they do have, they're not supposed to have in that spot. 8-7 isn't even supposed to be a thing. Anyway, we raised to 3. Our opponent calls, and on this board we check, and our opponent goes all in, and I think we have to fold. Now, this is one of those spots where we're doing a 1/3 of our stack, the 1/3 ISO. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if GTO Wizard wants us to use 3.5 here instead of 3, but they tend to oversize these ones, in my opinion. So we're playing according to the sizing structure that I created for my pre-flop chart pack that we have on, for available on my website. As played, though, perfect, yeah. We do just big ISO, then give up on that board. This board is particularly good for the speculative hands that are supposed to enter the pot for the large ISO. And we have no hand, no heart. It's pretty gross. We got to fold. Okay, so that was the last hand for review today. We are going to play some more spinning goes tomorrow, guys. I'm hoping that tomorrow we're going to play a slightly longer session. We are in general behind in the numbers. I know we can put in a lot of volume off stream when we're playing more tables. But also in general, guys, this year on stream, we have had a bit of a more unusual year in terms of our streaming schedule, or my personal streaming schedule. You guys will know from years past, we've done lots on stream, but then we've done lots on stars, and then we've done lots of like scoop and W coop and like spin and go showdowns, and then hippodrome cash streams. There's a lot of different things going on that make up sort of like my year of streaming. This year, there has been a little bit less of this sort of extracurricular activity, as it were. And so this year, I am going to basically try and pad out and make up some of that time in the months and weeks to come. This month specifically is extremely busy for me because we just had Vegas. And now we are going straight into Dusk Till Dawn. So I'm going to Nottingham this Thursday, and I will do a stream on Thursday still, but I think I'm going to be traveling the Thursday night, and I will be in Nottingham for the Dusk Till Dawn Handed Mob Championship event. I might be going to Goliath at the end of the month. Then we have an APPT stream, and then we obviously start getting back in EPTs. But there is going to be a much longer stretch in August, I believe, where I'm going to lock in, and we're probably going to try and do a lot more streaming during that time to try and make up not just hours, but also the games that we want to get through as well. So this is a look at the year so far, guys. Again, we're just sort of flatlining. I do have hope yet that we are going to encounter some sort of a big upswing here when we get on the right side of some of these coolers. But I'll see you guys tomorrow around 2 p.m. I might even go live a bit early. And I hope to see you guys then back at twitch.tv/NickWalshTV or youtube.com/@NickWalshTV. One thing I really need to start doing is just going red line versus scattered aggression from opponents. Looking at my stats, the regs are showing really unbalanced. It is interesting, Matt. I don't know if you were here to hear it, but I did a bit of a database analysis session offline looking at some of what the regs are doing. And to my surprise, almost all of the regs are deviating in situations where I thought they would be much more strict. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, there's ways to apply the sort of deviation that they are making, because for the most part, it's not like they're going off piste in ways that are really easily exploitable. It's like, rather than like limping like they should at 7 big blinds and below, they're just playing pure push fold. That's actually really hard to beat. It's difficult to exploit that. apart from perhaps catching them out when they are over trapping, as in not over trapping. When they do trap, they're under trapping, therefore their hands are stronger, but it's difficult to know, and it's difficult from player to player. But there are significant patterns that probably need some node locking. In particular, the 3-bet response to open 3-way is very sensitive, and I've seen some very significant deviations from opponents there, which need some more consideration on my part. Yeah, exactly. And also in the faster games, Matt, he says, my pool rarely seems to be checking value to let me bluff and just betting it themselves. In the faster games, I think generally speaking, the idea about putting the money in yourself more often makes a lot of sense. And I think that is a deviation that they are doing specifically for that reason. All right, guys, so I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to sign up for now. I love you all very much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And eventually we're going to make this whole office pretty. And then we're also going to, get a bed in here. And it's going to look nice. Also, sorry, that if you guys don't know, that's a weird thing to say. That we're gonna get a fold-away bed in here so that this could be a guest room when people come to stay. I'm not like moving into the office here. Although in August, maybe that's a good idea. 24-hour streams, 24-hour live streams. Wake up every 24-hour spin and go grind. Watch me sleep. It's too hot for that. All right, guys. Love you. See you in a bit.